Hello, how you doing? In this video, I'm going to talk about Pinecone pods versus serverless. Have you heard the term pods or serverless in the context of Pinecone, and you're not quite sure you know exactly what this is? Well, if so, then watch along with me for the next few minutes, and I'll quickly get you up to speed. Okay, let's get started. Pinecone has two infrastructure deployment models. The first is pods. A Pinecone pod is a dedicated set of resources that you reserve and manage for your specific use case. A pod consists of compute, memory, and storage capacity that is allocated exclusively for your workload. Pods can scale vertically up or down based on your workload. You can also scale horizontally by adding more pods to your deployment, which allows you to distribute your data and queries across multiple pods. Since pods are dedicated to your workload, they provide consistent performance as you're not sharing resources with other users. So how does pod pricing work? Well, Pinecone offers different types of pods, such as P1, P2, and S1, with increasing performance and capacity. Additionally, for each of the pod types, you can select a size such as X1, X2, X4, or X8. The pricing increases with the size of the pod because larger pods have more compute, memory, and storage. With pods, you also specify the cloud provider and region. Pods are priced on a per-minute basis, meaning you are billed for the time your pods are running. Pricing is also influenced by the cloud provider you choose. The cloud providers available today are AWS Cloud, Google GCP, and Microsoft Azure. You can also configure pod replicas to increase your availability and fault tolerance. Adding replicas also adds additional cost. It's important to note that each pod replica duplicates the resources and data in an index. That means that additional replicas increase the query throughput of the index, but not its capacity. Using a pod-based deployment is typically more expensive than a serverless option because you're paying for reserved capacity even if it's underutilized. But for consistent, high-volume workloads, this can still be your best option. The second infrastructure deployment model is serverless. The service option in Pinecone is a fully managed service where the infrastructure resources are allocated dynamically based on your workload. You still decide the cloud provider and region from a list of supported providers and regions, but you don't have to manage the pod infrastructure or worry about scaling up or down. Pinecone handles this for you automatically. Serverless automatically scales with demand, meaning that as your queries or data grow, Pinecone will allocate the necessary resources to handle the workload without any manual intervention. Serverless uses a pay-per-use model. For storage, you pay based on the size of an index on a gigabyte per hourly rate. For writes and reads to your index, you pay for write and read units. Read units measure the resources consumed by read operations, such as queries, fetch, and list. Write units measure the resources used by write operations, such as upsert, update, or delete. Serverless is typically more cost-efficient for lower volume, unpredictable, or highly variable workloads, as you only pay for the resources you use. With serverless, there's no need to reserve capacity in advance. Serverless is easier to set up and manage because you don't have to worry about the underlying infrastructure. This is another benefit, and it's ideal for developers who want to focus on building their applications rather than managing infrastructure resources. In summary, Pinecone pods are for users who need dedicated, consistent performance and are willing to manage and pay for reserved capacity. Pods make more sense for high-volume, consistent workloads. Pinecone serverless is for users who prefer a fully managed, scalable solution that adjusts resources dynamically based on usage. Serverless is ideal for low-volume, unpredictable, or highly variable workloads. Okay, so now you should have a basic understanding of the trade-offs between the Pinecone pod versus serverless deployment models. Selecting which deployment option is best for you should be driven by your Pinecone vector database read-write access patterns and whether you and your application team want to manage the Pinecone vector database infrastructure. Okay, thanks for watching. This video, along with all my other videos in the vector databases playlist, are listed in the YouTube description. I invite you to watch other videos on my channel. If you like the way I'm sharing this content, please consider subscribing. When you subscribe, this really helps my channel grow. One last thing, we all love technology, and we're all excited about all the innovation with the cloud, machine learning, AI. But don't forget to carve out some time to live in the real world. Go outside, go swimming, go hiking, go climbing, go surfing. Get out and move your body. And if you do, tell me in the comments. I want to hear about it. And with that, have a great day. Thanks.